Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming for the Bhakti Sastri class. We are going to discuss chapter 13 today. But before we start, what we do is we offer Mangalacharan prayers. Rupali Vasi, Hare Krishna, Jay, thank you for coming. And for those who joined online, grateful for your presence. Akhil and Satya Sankalpa, thank you for manning the booth. And so we'll start with our Mangalacharan prayers, and then we can get started. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhobhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matsamo nasti papatma Naparadhi cha kaschana Parihare pilajjame Kimbruve purushottama Bhumau skalitapadanam Bhumireva valambanam Tvai jata paradhanam Tvameva sharanam prabho Na prema shravanadi Bhaktir apiva Yogo tava Vaishnavo Jnanam va shubha Karma va kiyadaho Sajjatirapyasti va Hinarthadika sadhake tvai tata Pyachedyamula sati He gopi janavallabha Vyathayate hamada shaivamam Hamada shaivamam Hamada shaivamam. All right. So, chapter 13 through chapter 19, Krishna talks of Jnana Yoga. From chapter 1 through chapter 6, Krishna talked of Karma Yoga. And not exactly Karma Yoga, but the whole of those first six chapters constitute Karma. The second set of 6 chapters constitute Bhakti. And the third set we are going to talk is Jnana. And today, in the 13th chapter, it's a little more philosophical because we discussed about, in the second chapter, for example, Krishna discussed at length about what is matter and what is spirit. And he said how to realize one's spiritual nature, and he gives different processes of yoga. From chapter 7 through chapter 12, Krishna talks about his own powers. He says that, for example, he says, Bhumirapo analo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakritirashtadaha. He says that earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego are my differentiated energies. And then he says, Mamayavamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. He says that all these living entities, they are mine. They are my part and parcels. So he explains these two aspects at length, but now how is it mixed up? Because we are spirit souls packaged in a material body. So what is this khichdi? I mean, how does I have nothing to do with matter. But yet I am here deeply absorbed in matter, thinking I am the matter. And that's what Bhagavatam says also. In Vyasa, when he saw in meditation in trance, he says, Yaya sammohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manutenartam tatkritam chapi badhyate. He says that Yaya sammohito jiva. Sammohitaha means completely bewildered. Mohita means bewildered. Sammohita means completely bewildered. Yata sammohito jivo atmanam trigunatmakam. That he or she is thinking that I am the product of matter. And that is manifested in so many identities. For example, I am a man, I'm a woman, I'm American, I'm Indian, I'm white, I'm black, I belong to this community, this employer, this social club, the sports club. It can have so many designations. Atmanam trigunatma paropi manutenartam tat. Because of the identification with the matter, the living entity is taking on the effects of matter, and then Krishna is going to discuss that in this 13th chapter of what that differences are. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. All right. So let's start with texts 1 and 2. To kindly repeat after me. No, I think we have, yeah, it's fine. Thank you. Arjuna uvacha prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetrajnameva cha etadveditum ichchami jnanam jneyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetram ityabhidiyate etadyo vetti tam prahuhu kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. Rupali Mataji and then Jambavati, and then you can go like that. Thank you.
Arjuna said, O my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field.
So here we can see what are the 6 items that Krishna likes, Arjuna likes to know from Krishna in the first verse. Kshetra, which is, and Kshetrajna, then Prakriti and Purusha, and then the last one is Jnanam and Jneyam. So these are the 6 items. What is field? What is knower of field? What is nature or Prakriti? And who is the enjoyer of Prakriti? And what is knowledge? And what is the goal of knowledge? And Krishna replies that this body is called the field. And it is easy to understand. For example, if you sow something in the field, then you get the results from that effort, correct? I mean, when you sow an apple, then you get the results are apple. And when you sow cactus, the results is cactus. Even if you don't sow, you'll get cactus. But that's a different thing. But Krishna is saying this body is like a field. And then the knower of this body is called, the knower of the body is the knower of the body. That's all. It's kshetra, kshetrajna. Kshetra in Sanskrit means field. Kshetra. But kshetra, when you do the jna in with it, it becomes the knower of that. So far so good? All right. So 6 items, and then Krishna will start explaining those. Text 3. Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam yattad jnanam matam mama.
Hare Krishna. O scion of Bharat, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion.
Thank you. So here he clearly, Krishna clearly explains that that Krishna says that there are 2 types of knower. There are 2 types of knower. One is the soul, the other is the super soul. He says that I am also the knower, but Krishna distinguishes by saying that I am the knower of all the bodies. If you have pain in your body, only you know the pain in your body. Others cannot know the pain in your body, yes or yes. But Krishna, being the super soul, he knows the pain in everyone's body. Or he can understand the situation of that particular body. We'll do a few verses and then we'll stop for question and answers. Okay. Text 4. Tat kshetram yacha yadrikcha yadvikari yatascha yad sachayo yat prabhavascha tat samasena me shrunu.
Now please hear my brief description of this field of activity and how it is constituted, what its changes are, whence it is produced, who that knower of the field of activities is, and what his influences are.
So here there are six aspects. What is this body constituted of? The second thing is what the changes are, because the body is constantly changing, yes or yes? Or is it just you get the same body all the time? Thank God. And then the third one is whence it is produced, or from where it's produced. And then who the knower of the field of activities and what the influence. This is another thing. What is the influence of both the knowers, both the individual soul and the super soul? This is very interesting. The reason it is interesting is if God is sitting as Paramatma in the heart and the super soul or the knower, Krishna later says is Paramatma. Sneak peek into the future, spoiler alert. That the super knower is Paramatma. The bigger question comes, or the fascinating question is, what are the influence of soul and the super soul? Because the question often comes is, if a super soul is sitting in my heart and I am sitting with him, then he is responsible for all my actions. I am not responsible. You only said he's sitting in the body, he's very powerfully controlling. I'm not in control of the body. So it's Supersoul who's doing all this. I'm not doing anything. And the extreme opposite of this nuanced way is that I am the controller. I'm the master of my destiny. I just am everything. So you can see where the influence is. What's the influence of the soul? What's the influence of the Supersoul? And where we land. So this chapter kind of gives that realistic picture of that. So far, so good? All right, let's do a few more verses. Rishibir bahuda gitam Chandobir vividai pritak Brahma sutra padaischaiva Hetu madbhir vinishchitai.
Hare Krishna. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knowledge of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect.
Thank you. So here, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Krishna is quoting various sages and scriptures. He says that this particular cause and effect has been quoted by various sages, and it's written in a book called Vedanta Sutra. Now, for those who are a little unfamiliar with Vedanta Sutra, a very brief introduction of what Vedanta Sutra constitutes. Srila Vyasadeva took all the Vedic wisdom and knowledge and he put it into what is called cliff notes. It's just in a very summary form, very, very terse form. He put all the knowledge, and that are called aphorisms, and they are called Vedanta Sutras. Vedanta Sutra have, I believe, 500 plus sutras, and it is divided into 4 adhyayas and so on and so forth. But the whole purpose of Vedanta Sutra is to provide the cause and effect. Material nature is the cause, and what is the effect? So the scriptures are broadly divided into 3 categories. One is called Shruti Prasthana, which is Vedas, which is heard from the sound. One is called Smriti Prasthana. Smriti Prasthana means that which follows the Vedic version. And the third is called Nyaya Prasthana. Nyaya Prasthana means the Vedanta Sutras, because they give very logically the cause and effect of different things. The Vedanta Sutra begins, of course, with Atato Brahma Jignasa. There are the first 4 are the most important. They are Atato Brahma Jignasa, then Janmadyasya Yataha, Shastra Yonitvat, and Tattu Samanvayat. So these are the first 4 aphorisms of Vedanta Sutra. And of course, that's a whole other topic. The best part about Vedanta Sutra is that for us, the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. It's mentioned in, I think, Garuda Puran. Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam Bharatartha Virnirnaya Gayatri Bhashya Ruposau Vedartha Paribrahmizda. So it is mentioned Arthoyam Brahma Sutra. Vedanta Sutra, Brahma Sutra, Vyasa Sutra, all these sutras are the same. They refer to the same thing, which is this. So when it says Arthoyam Brahma Sutranam, which means the explanation of the Vedanta Sutras is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, and that's our natural commentary. Having said that, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan wrote a commentary on Vedanta Sutra called Govinda Bhashya as well, for those who are interested in going deep into that particular realm. Now, for the answer, what is this field constituted of and what the changes are, this particular verse describes that. Let's go for verses 6 and 7. Mahabhutyanyahankaro buddhir avyaktamevacha indriyani dashaikam cha Panchachendriya gocharaha Ichchadvesha sukham dukkham Sanghatas chetana dhritihi Etat kshetram samasena Savikaram udahrutam.
The five great elements, false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses and the mind, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms and convictions, all these are considered in summary to be the field of activities and its interactions.
Thank you. So here, what it constitutes of and what its changes are. So if you can see, it constitutes of the 5 great elements. Bhumi, earth, we have earth in our body. Apo, water. Anala, fire. Vayu, wind. And Kham. We have all these 5 elements in our body. And then we also have what is called 5 working senses and then 5 sense objects. The sense objects, so working senses is that I have the tongue, but the sense object for the tongue is water. I mean, anything. I can't just go and take sand or rock, and that cannot be a sense object for my tongue. Nor can I look at the water with my eyes and try to drink it. Because for my eyes, anything that has light, and I can see it. So if you carefully analyze, this body is so finely tuned that Krishna has to give you the power to actually taste something. Otherwise, you cannot taste it. And you might say, COVID. People had lost the taste of smell and taste, right? You couldn't taste anything. If Krishna or there is a whole other cause and effect. The Krishna, Devatas, they control the senses. And if they cannot help you, then you cannot taste anything. We are that helpless in this material existence that everything actually belongs and is controlled by Krishna. So when we come to this conclusion that this body is just not mine, Krishna says, Bhumi, that everything belongs to him, then what am I doing here? And then the answer to that question is, Krishna is giving us the rental property that is body, and then when time comes, he says, okay, now you need to evacuate this. And this whole body is again merged into earth, goes to earth, and so on and so forth. And then the soul kind of leaves everything behind, and then Krishna gives another set of rental property that he can stay for some more time. There is no permanent home in this world. What we call the body is just a temporary stopgap arrangement till you get the next body. And Bhagavad Gita says, when Atma realizes that this is not my nature, this is not where I should be, then you seriously have a urge to realize Krishna and go back to him. This is enough. Enough of the fun, quote unquote, fun of this world, which seems no fun at all to start with. So when you read this chapter in great detail, and literally you can apply it to yourself. Many of the chapters you might or might not be able to understand. For example, 6th chapter, Krishna says you should go to forest. You should select a place neither too high nor too low. Completely be celibate, mind and sense. It might seem that a little tough, at least in this age of Kali Yuga. But this one you can actually see it. You can see here. So 5 sense objects, desire and hatred. Sometimes you like the thing, and the next moment you hate the same thing. Yes or yes? I mean, Vicky, what's your favorite sweet? Rasmalai. And every day I give Vicky Rasmalai. After 10 days, she'll be like, I hate Rasmalai. No, not that. I'm just saying it. I'm not quoting it. It's the same object, so desire and hatred. And then happiness, distress. You can see how the mind is constantly changing with these symptoms. Krishna is the whole of material existence, the whole of material activities. Krishna is packaged it into 2 verses. And that's what he says, summary. If you see everything that's happening in the world, apart from spirituality, is in this realm of these 2 verses. Think about it. It's just everything is in here. Krishna says, this is the field of activities. As much as I am trying to enjoy matter, every jiva is trying to enjoy the matter, and Krishna is summarizing this. It. And then when you realize this, you'll be like, there is something higher. There has to be something higher. And then the other beautiful part is that you'll not envy many people. Because, yes, you may have billions of dollars, much more than me, but it is essentially in this realm. That's it. And then you give up, and then you go on to the next life. And who knows what the next life is. So when you have that universal picture of the living entities and the action and the reactions of work, you'll be like, yeah, there's nothing to envy, there is nothing to hate, there is nothing to, be emotionally invested in this world. You need to do your work and then, invest that time in spirituality. Having said that, please do what is needed to maintain the body as well. Not that I heard Bhagavad Gita and then, you just give up everything. In fact, that is one of the things. Arjuna wanted to give up everything in the first chapter. He said, I want to go to forest. I don't want to renounce this ghastly warfare, and I just want to go to forest and retire. Krishna says, nope, you have to stand and fight. So when to retire and when to stand and fight, it is a question best answered by Guru and Krishna. Because Arjuna could not figure out whether to stand and fight or to go to forest, and he placed this question before Krishna, and Krishna said, this is the answer. Arjuna said, I'm your disciple, you are my guru, please help me. And Krishna said, you should do this. So in the same way, but when you understand this, you will slowly get detached from matter. Birth after birth after birth, I have been in this world. This world has become a comfortable place, a place, even though there is so much of misery and trouble, it's so nice. Because that is the effect or illusion of Maya that makes you think that this is it. But internally, everyone knows that, this is not it. There is something more. But because of lack of knowledge, you don't know what is more. And Krishna is giving that knowledge in Gita. He says, there is something more to it. And unless that positive knowledge is there, just negating the negative won't help. How long will negating the negative help? You will, I'm eating too much, I should lose weight. And then, you go on a diet for like 1 month and then you become skinny. And then your tongue and the mind is like constantly, you have deprived yourself of the food. Now let's go and eat something. And then you see how people gain and lose weight. It's like a pendulum. Once you lose weight, once you gain weight, once you go so that is the nature of the material world without Krishna consciousness. But if you have Krishna consciousness, then you will not hate the world, you will not love the world. Well, this is another place, another phase. Is that helpful? All right, we'll do a few more verses. Mata, your good name? Archana. Hare Krishna, Archana Mataji. Archana Mataji, give me a few minutes. Let me do a few verses, and then we will take the questions. So Krishna talked about the field, the knower of the field. He'll go more in depth. And then another thing Arjuna asked is, what is knowledge? These 8 through 12 verses, Krishna defines what is knowledge. Kindly repeat after me. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham stairyam atmavinigraha indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam asaktir anabhisvangaha putradara grihadishu nityam cha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aratir jana samsadi adhyatma jnana nityatvam tattvajnanarthadarshanam etajnanam iti proktam ajnanam yad atonyata.
Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, and old age and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindlessness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth, all these I declare to be knowledge, and the beside of this, whatever there may be, is ignorance.
Thank you. Let's look the purport. Srila Prabhupada has spent quite a few pages on this purport. We'll go through a few of the gems that, few of the many gems that Srila Prabhupada gave. Okay. So, if you go down a little bit, please. Yeah. So, how many items does Krishna give in this? Mm, 20. I think it's 20. I think it's... no, casing is made. It's 20. Items are 20. So, of all the descriptions of the process of knowledge, it's there in the middle, if you can see, of all the descriptions of the process of knowledge, the most important point is described in the first line of 11th verse, Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. So Krishna says this is the most important verse, or the most important point of knowledge, that unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. Because if you have, and Srila Prabhupada says, if you have unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, then all the other good qualities will come. But if you have all the other good qualities and do not have unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, then the knowledge, then the other items of knowledge might not be of much help. So here you can see in the next line he says, so if one does not approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. And if you go down a little bit, and then he uses that famous verse, Yasyasti Bhakti. And the other thing Srila Prabhupada writes is the principle, let's go down the last line, the principle of accepting the spiritual master, as mentioned in the 8th verse, is essential. So of all the items, every item is important, but the most important item is unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. The second is accepting a spiritual master or a guru. They are combined. For example, if you accept a guru, then he should instruct you to perform unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. If there is no unalloyed devotional service to Krishna in picture, accepting a guru, what's the point? It's completely useless. Because a guru says, do whatever you want to do, you will get God. Then what's the point in accepting that guru? But guru also has to say, please perform unalloyed devotional service to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada used to quote this often. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me. And guru is saying, please surrender unto Krishna. They are conjoined like that. Then let's go down a little bit. Thank you. Then humility says, it is mentioned here, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others, but from the point of the view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor and dishonor pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. So, one example I give, and that I given quite in Bhakti Vrikshas, that I'll pick Jay. Why not? Jay, he has to go to a very important party, maybe meet the President of United States or whatever. And then, he tells his mom that I need to buy like this first-class suit with tuxedo and I have a nice tie and everything. And then it has to be like nice cream color with like burgundy kind of bow tie and this, and then it's bespoke color. Then he's smartly dressed on the day comes, and then he goes to meet the President of United States. There's a big party and all the big dignitaries have come. He's invited to Diwali festival. Why not? Diwali is coming in. And then the menu items in White House is samosas and chutneys and of varieties. And then the waiter is taking around, and then as he approaches Jay, somebody hits the waiter on the thing, and all the chutneys fall onto this beautiful suit. And then it's just smeared all over. And then, but Jay is very intelligent because he's attending Bhagavad Gita classes. He knows that he's not that suit. So he's not disturbed. So somebody, and before that many people said to Jay, oh my God, Jay, look at your suit, man. You look awesome. He was taking so much of pride. And now that all the chutneys fell on the suit, he is neither disturbed when people are praising him, your suit is great, and neither is he disturbed when chutneys fell. Because that's what Krishna is saying. Honor and dishonor is happening to the body, but not to the soul. And I'll give one last example, Michael. I think you and Vicky can relate to this. Presidents of United States, they have headaches when they are in the office, but when they are going out, they have another kind of headache. Like, what should be my legacy? I should build a memorial, a library, a collection of my times at office, whatever. And this is true of not President of United States, any person who's conditioned. And you build a memorial. For example, an ex-president builds a beautiful memorial, like a beautiful millions of dollars. They build a library and whatever, and then they store this, that, and it's magnificent piece. And the president who built it is very like, oh, this is mine, and my legacy will be there. In the next life, that particular person dies and comes back to the same city, and he comes back as a student. He goes into that library and that memorial. Oh my God, this person was such a great president in the previous and in this life. What a great man. That person is you. You're completely forgotten. That is the nature. That is why Prabhupada writes, this craving for recognition and being honored by others, it's a material deception. Because you'll completely forget. In the next life, truly, think about it. What I was in the last life, I don't know. And I am in this life. Same way, Krishna says that you forget everything in your previous life. So, that person was the same person. He went to the same legacy in the previous lifetime. He's not able to recognize that it is the same me. And you start offering to yourself in ignorance. Yeah. Am I making sense? Yeah. Well, let's do a little bit more. And Archana Mataji, I haven't forgotten you. So because this is a big purport. If we jump through this, then non-violence. It's Prabhupada's definition of non-violence. So beautiful. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body. But actual non-violence means not to put others into distress. People are generally trapped by the ignorance in material conception of life, and they are perpetually suffer material pains. So unless, please hear this gem, unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing. That's very controversial. Not controversial, but it's very enlightening, let's say, very, very different perspective of what violence or non-violence is. And one should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people. So if you go on book distribution, if you support book distribution, if you come to the temple, or tell, why even book distribution? You would tell others about Krishna. You tell others about temple. Hey, what do you do on the weekends? Well, I go to this temple and it's quite peaceful and I like it. That is preaching. You tell your family members, okay, you know what? Let's get some free food. Let's go to Hare Krishna. That is preaching indirectly. In any form, shape, or fashion, if you can bring a jiva to the temple to see Krishna, then you are unlocking the bondage of prison they have been held since time immemorial. So that is actually non-violence. Because and it is a fact. I'll give one more last example. If a doctor knows that a person has deadly brain tumor and doesn't tell, is he committing violence or non-violence? Oh, I shouldn't tell because you know what? They'll think very bad of me. I'm the bearer of bad news. No, you are committing the greatest violence by not telling that person that you have a brain tumor and you're going to actually die if you don't rectify it. And the same thing with the human form of life. If we tell a human being that you got this, you hit a jackpot of $1 trillion because you got a human body, now this human body, actually you can awaken your spiritual consciousness and not rot in this world perpetually, that actually is non-violence. Otherwise, you're just letting the person suffer the violent birth and death. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada writes the next paragraph. This is a gem of a purport. You should take time. It's very practical. It's very practical. You can tolerance. This is overlapping with honor, but please continue, and humility. Simplicity again. It's really nice. But here, let me tell that with a caveat. Simplicity means without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth to even an enemy. Of course, we should do that. But if you are in the spy business, this might be in the wrong business. If you want to practice, just joking. All right, let's continue a little bit more. Cleanliness, external, internal cleanliness. Let's continue. Steadiness, and again, spiritual progress, determination, spiritual progress is steadiness. Let's continue a bit more. False ego is, this is one point I wanted to add. False ego doesn't mean negation of ego. For example, mirage in the desert, is there water in the mirage? But then the water is elsewhere, correct? So same way, false ego doesn't mean negation of actual ego. It just means that my real ego is to serve Krishna. But under the false ego, I am thinking I am the controller instead of being controlled by Krishna. When you come to your real ego, you will say, Krishna is the controller, I am the controlled. False ego means, I am the controller, Krishna is the controlled. Kind of. Please continue a little bit. So, this is really... Jay, you want to read this paragraph, please? And then we'll go online.
Thank you. One should try to understand the distress of accepting birth, death, old age, and disease. There are descriptions in various Vedic
Literatures.
literatures of birth. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the world of the unborn, the child's stay in the womb of the mother, its suffering, etc., are all very graphically described. It should be thoroughly understood that the birth is distressful, because we forget how much distress we have suffered within the womb of the mother. We do not make any solution to the repetition of birth and death. Similarly, at the time of death, there are all kinds of sufferings, and they are also mentioned in the authoritative scriptures. These should be discussed. And as far as disease and old age are concerned, everyone gets practical experience. No one wants to get diseased, and no one wants to become old. But there is no avoiding these. Unless we have a pessimistic view of this material life, considering the distress of birth, death, old age, and disease, there is no impetus for our making advancement in spiritual life.
Thank you. So it's the Sanskrit phrase was dukkha dosha no adarshanam. So no, janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Krishna says that these four things, you should see them as faults of this world, unless you don't see it. Because sometimes people are like, seriously, somebody questioned me in Bhakti Riksha. Prabhuji, it seems your lectures are very negative. It's too much negative. Why don't you discuss Ananda, happiness? You should discuss that. I said, I'm sorry if it is negative, but if you prematurely discuss positive without discussing negative, then you won't stick to positive. Positive and negative will become the same coin. So, but having said that, I did discuss positive. Well, there is a lot of positive. The way I look at it is this. I'll give the example of brain tumor. When the doctor says you have a brain tumor, it is sad, it is distressful, it is scary, and to an extent there is some pain involved when the doctor does the medical procedure, as in operating on surgery. But that initial pain is meant to give you everlasting happiness. And Krishna says, when we go to the 14th chapter, Krishna says, happiness in the mode of goodness is like poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end. And happiness in the mode of passion is like nectar in the beginning and poison in the... So, this discussion, the discussion of death, birth, disease, and old age in the world must be done in a way that doesn't paralyze you, that doesn't make you afraid, and that actually reduces your self-esteem even less than what it is. I'll give one example. A person who is very pessimistic or negative view of the world, if you teach them Bhagavad Gita like this, oh, I knew it. What's the point in getting out of the bed anyways? Why should I even curb, for example, my addiction to alcohol? Anyway, I'm going to die. Janma, this is the material world. Might as well die drinking alcohol. Tell me what would be your answer to that? You guys are saying, you should be pessimistic. I'm pessimistic view of life, and anyway, I'm going to die because of drinking alcohol. So what's the big deal? Yes, Mata. Jaya Mata.
So when he is alive, he is also impacting the surroundings around. So that is through being a bad influence to the surrounding through that.
Thank you. That's a really nice point. Very nice point. Yeah. Yes, Rupali Mataji. Please give her a mic.
Also, he's building negative karma by doing all this.
Thank you.
That will affect his future.
Thank you.
And he cannot really get rid of, even though he just technically knows, theoretically this is not all good, But he can't find the solution to get out of that, but he will get more entangled into this pessimistic situation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. This is so beautiful. Because Krishna does say that if you are not in the death in the mode of goodness, death in the mode of passion, and death in the mode of ignorance. He says that if you die in the mode of goodness, you take birth among the heavenly planets and among demigods. If you die in the mode of passion, you take birth among human beings. And if you die in ignorance, you take birth among lower species of life like animals. So then when you understand this, then it becomes a little more easier. So discussion of this never should be done or given to the person who is already depressed in life. I want to emphasize that because, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says you should look like this. But when one is preaching, one should be careful enough to see what's the state of that person. If the person is, for example, we have suicidal, people in general have suicidal tendencies. If you give this and preach it in a wrong way, it'll be actually doing a disservice. So one should be really careful. That's point number one. Point number two is we take this like a student taking the exam. If the student is aware of the exam, then they will work towards it. They are realistic about the exam. They know their situation. They work towards it. A student number two is, dude, who cares about exam? You just waste your whole time just playing and, unlike Jay. Jay's friends do that. Jay is a very studious, nice student. So you just frivolously waste time. I don't care about exam. The third student is even worse. I don't believe in exam. There is no exam. And the fourth student is so paralyzed by exam. Oh my God, exam is there. Let's study for the exam. Oh, I'm so afraid I can't study for exam. It's too much. What would be a person who knows there is exam and who works for it is the smartest of all. Same way when we discuss, death, birth, this is old age, and you are constantly told in Krishna consciousness, it should be seen just as an impetus to advance your spiritual life, nothing else. Not that Krishna is saying that you be depressed. In fact, we are preparing ourselves for highest deathless state of existence. By contemplating this, we are preparing that. A student will think about exam, but a student will never think, oh my God, exam is life or death. No, there is a certificate that is going to come that is going to actually help me better in my life. And same way we should see this. It needs a little bit of explanation. Otherwise, people take it either way, or it just. So, any questions, any comments on that before we move on? Or maybe, let's complete this purport. I'm sorry. This is also important. Please, Krishna says, be detached from wife, family, children. People who read this, yes, Krishna is saying, I will divorce everything and just go off because Krishna is saying, be detached. No. As far as detachment from children, wife, and home, it's not meant that one should have no feeling for these. These are natural objects of affection, but when they are not favorable to spiritual progress, then one should not be attached to them. So, and then please keep continuing. Please keep continuing. This is beautiful purports. I wish we had a lot of time. Here, happiness and distress are concomitant factors. Material world means you will get both, guaranteed. And people are always trying to avoid miseries and always trying to seek happiness. And you can see neither of the situation lasts. And for those who are truly, depressed and having mental issues, you should give them this hope that,
और दे दो, भूख लग रही है, कुछ fruits नहीं है.
Can somebody mute online? I don't know who it is. Can somebody mute? Thank you. Krishna says, because second chapter he says, Matra sparshastha kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkha agama apayino nityas tamstitiksha. So he says, tolerate it. Both will come. This is just the nature of this world. You can't avoid it. The very fact that you cannot avoid it should give you the impetus that there is a higher controller that is going to put me through the situations where I cannot avoid. So Krishna is saying, just tolerate this. Please, we can spend like 5 classes just on this one purport and the practical application of it. But All right. Yeah, I think you just please continue. Yeah, I think we'll stop here. We'll take some few questions. This is a long purport, but please take some questions. Let's go all the way down. Okay, let's see if we can. That's it. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. All right. Any questions? We'll stop here. We'll take few questions. It's on the
Hare Krishna, the Shyamchandra Das.
Wait. Shyamchandra Prabhu, if you can hold your question just for a minute, we have Archana Mataji here who already raised a hand. Is that okay, Shyamchandra Prabhu, or you're driving, or
Sure.
you're because if
No,
you're
no,
driving and
sure,
if you are
sure.
in a okay, all right, good,
No.
all right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful discourse. Actually, I just wanted to let you know, I'm not a Bhakti Vriksha student. I just came over here to have the blessings of the Lordship because it's Ekadashi. Then I got to know from Mataji, like, you'll be giving the lecture. So I thought, okay, let me just have the Krishna Katha. So thank you so much for that. And I think I got the answer as well for my question after going to the purports by Srila Prabhupada. My question was like, we experience like happiness and distress in our life, that's the concomitant factors that we have mentioned. But my question is like, is it experienced by the spirit soul, or it's just the, subtle body, which includes the mind? I got the answer, like we are not the body, we are spirit soul. So it's the body that experiences, not the spirit soul. But I just wanted to, understand from your side, like, is it the mental faculty, or it's like intellect, or the ego, false ego, that actually experiences that, and because of that, body also experiences the same?
So Krishna says in the 3rd chapter, we have the body, the senses, the mind, the intelligence, and above intelligence, and then the false ego, and then above that is the soul. So when the experience happens, is to the extent you identify with the matter, to that you experience the positive or negative. To the experience you don't identify with the matter, then you will see that this is not me, I'm just witnessing it. This is a little deep topic, and I don't know if you have Bhagavatam set at home, but the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, in the conversation between Maharaj Rahugana and Jadabharat, your question when you are asking is the exact same question that Maharaj Rahugana asked. He said, the example he gave is, in the pot, there is a rice being cooked and the milk being cooked. Every of them will feel it. How can you say that I am different from the body? So there is a very deep philosophical discussion. You can take a look at it. But in a nutshell, to the extent you identify with the body, to that extent you see it is me and I am undergoing the plus and minus. But to the extent you are spiritually advanced, you actually see that this is happening because of mercy of Krishna, and you will be neutral. But when you are in love of Godhead, then you will say, I want the troubles, like Queen Kunti. So there is the variation on your perception. Thank you. Shyamchandra Prabhu, sorry, thank you for waiting. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Prabhuji, you mentioned very nicely in the starting how we need to approach the people in mode of goodness is good, no issues. But mode of passion and mode of ignorance people, once they say that why I need Bhagavad Gita, how we can, there is no one answer for it, no, Prabhuji. So, because this will arise while we do book distribution, and in Bhakti Ruksha, new devotees comes, right? First time, then also it comes. So how we can approach people? It's not one answer, right, Prabhuji? Time, place, and depending on that, we should talk, or how?
So, Shyamchandra Prabhu, if I understand your question, you are saying how should we present Bhagavad Gita to those who are too passionate or who are in the mode of ignorance?
Correct, Prabhuji.
I see. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It could be my relatives also, because they will question like this. Yeah.
Relatives is a whole other tricky business. Anyways, So the idea here is this. Other forms of yoga, there is an outright disqualification for those who are in the mode of ignorance and passion. You just can't even enter into the other forms of yoga system. Bhakti yoga is such that even at any stage of your existence, you can take it, or have the qualification to practice. So Shyamchandra Prabhu, based on the person's state of consciousness, when it is too covered by ignorance, they can't even see, they can't even perceive. It is like a person is under the mountain and you are trying to put your hand and wake him up. You'll just hit the rock because your mind is so covered by the mode of ignorance, you can't wake up. All you can do is give some prasadam and pray on behalf of that person. That's about it. If you are deep in ignorance, but if you are having some logic, if you are open to discussion, then on logical basis you can explain to them that your passion you think is going to help you get so many things, but the state of passion in general is not, you can see around the world, it is not giving as much happiness as it needed. So maybe there is something higher you might want to consider, and you can present it like that. So depend on the time, place, circumstance, then one can use one's best judgment. Shyamchandra Prabhu.
Yes, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Because as preachers, we are like businessmen. We should say where will we invest our time for maximum return. If we have to keep on pouring our money, as in our time, in a losing business or a losing person, then we should just be smart enough to say thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I thought of that, but I just want to listen from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? Okay. Is everybody doing well? Should we take 5-minute break, stretch, come back? Okay, because what happened, so let's do one thing. We'll complete the entire chapter, and then once the chapter is done, then I'll stop at few places, I'll explain, and then we will take, and we'll try to wrap it up like that as well. No online questions, right? Before I go? Yes. Mike, because online they'll be like, what is Satya Sankalpa saying? I want to hear.
Hare Krishna. So, 9th offense is to instruct a faithless person on the glories of the holy name. But here it says non-violence is, violence is when you are not, I think it's related to what Shyamchandra Prabhu asked, so I need a little bit more clarity. So, like, how are those two simultaneously true? Because if you're going to somebody who's faithless and we are saying, take up to Krishna consciousness, that is like an offense.
The 9th verse or the 9th offense against the holy name is specifically, do not preach the glories of the holy name to faithless person. But to ask them to chant Hare Krishna, that is okay. I'll give an example. A person has some terrible hatred for a particular ingredient of medicine. You'll never say what is in that medicine that person hates. You just say, take this medicine. And if the person is having a little faith, he'll take and he'll say, oh, Shubham, it's so nice, thank you for giving me. Because you never told what is inside. So our idea is that we'll help that person, but we don't need to preach the glories of the holy name. Take this if you like it, it'll be nice for you. But then and then that will satisfy the criteria of non-violence. Then it will satisfy the criteria is when you don't tell the ingredients of the medicine. Or, this medicine was produced in this factory by this genius, and he's very like, take this medicine. Is that helpful? Is that satisfying? Does that satisfy you? Or more questions? Okay, thank you. Jambavati, Hare Krishna.
Hi Krishna, thank you for your wonderful class. Along the same lines as Satya Sankalpa Prabhu, so if we invite someone to come to the temple, and they do come, but they view the deities as objects, and thus it's not as respectful as it should be. would that be considered offensive if they, or would it still be beneficial for them? And would it be like offensive from our end that we invited someone who is not respectful to the deities?
Well, Jamavati, we should invite everyone, and and we hope for the best. Now, usually, people are only people who come to the temple have some piety in them, and if they are so much in the mode of ignorance, they will never come. So we do our best. I mean, the same case goes with, oh, should I give Bhagavad Gita to this person? This person is smoking and eating meat, and they may throw this Bhagavad Gita or disrespect it. Well, we have the orders of Prabhupada and our Guru to give it, and it's up to them and Krishna what to do. I mean, if we hold back based on that fear, I used to have that fear, and then you just do the best you can. We are just following the orders. Is that helpful? Thank you. Of course, one last point. Having said that, if the persons are deliberately offensive in the temple, we should make every effort to stop. Shall I tell a small story? This is not exactly DT, but almost close. So we were in Bascom Temple. In 2012 or 13, we moved here. Before that, we were in the Bascom Temple. There was no big kitchen there. The kitchen was like really tiny. So for major festivals, we would actually set up shop outside and we would cook. And then we were cooking pakoras for the I don't remember which Gaurpurni, I don't remember festival. We were cooking pakoras. And then was one lady that came, who was the male person bringing mail to the temple. And that person was so obnoxious. That person came, hey, I want to taste this. I said, look, we didn't offer it to the deities. You cannot taste it. You shouldn't do it. And she took it and popped into her mouth. I was shocked. You cannot get physical because you will go to jail. This is Lord, He has to eat it. How dare you eat before you eat it? And then I was verbally assertive and little strict with her, but that is to the extent of what I could do. A person was deliberately provocative. What is this? I want to eat this. People, they want to rile up. And then there is a balance between how much you can kind of protest and keep the dignity momentum going. So just wanted to throw in that. It was very sad day for me. So I immediately told hey, this happened and all that, and it is what it is. Jay, I'll come to you, beta. Is that okay? All right. Yes, go for it.
So then did you have to
Oh.
So then did you have to make a new batch of pakoras?
I think we had to at least remove that particular place of thing, and we kept it, threw it away, and then we had to get the next one. Because almost we were done doing the entire pakoras. Almost, we were almost to the fag end of being done, and there was about to be offered. Or we should, what we should have been smarter? As soon as the first batch was prepared, we should have offered it to the Lord. Anyway, we live and learn. Vicky, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Srivas, Pandit, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question about aspiring to live in a solitary place as being a symptom of knowledge. Prahlad Maharaj says that we should go to the cities and where masses of people are to preach. So how is this a symptom of knowledge? Or would it be more so wherever Krishna deems is appropriate for service?
Excellent question. Super excellent question. Let's go and visit that particular purport, Prabhu, if that's okay with you. And then Control F solitary. It's okay. If you have purports open, then Control F solitary. SOLI. So here, naturally, when one is adapted to spiritual way of life, he does not want to mix with materialistic men. That would go against his grain. One may test himself by seeing how far he is inclined to live. The word Srila Prabhupada uses is inclined to live in solitary place without unwanted association. Now, you can see naturally a devotee has no taste. So even though you may be living in the city, as long as you don't indulge in the city lifestyle, you are still living in a solitary place because you are doing it for service. And then, and that's an excellent point, because you are inclined to live in solitary place. You ask any personalities within ISKCON who are really advanced, they would be very happy to live in a solitary place. But here they are traveling through different places and different parts of the world just to help, because that's our mode here. Our service is to preach. And the orders of Guru will completely oversede in the matter. Because if everybody, why everybody? If Srila Prabhupada said, why go to West? Such a materialistic, horrible place. I'm happy in solitarily living in Vrindavan. What's the point in me going to West? We would have never had ISKCON. So, in one sense, Prabhupada violated his orders of Krishna, but here it was for a higher purpose. Is that okay? The idea here is that as long as the materialistic way of life doesn't appeal to you, you are living in a solitary place, even though you may be living in the middle of the city. Thank you. And Srila Prabhupada was also somewhat not pleased with the fact that I'll go live in Vrindavan or other holy place, chant 64 rounds a day. Prematurely, if you do it, then it might actually not result in advancement in spirituality. In fact, it can go into the reverse direction, actually. So, good, excellent question. Thank you for raising that. Because if you are truly spiritually advanced, completely self-realized soul, nothing to do with this world, then you can live in a solitary place, you can live in the city, it doesn't make a difference. But apart from, yes. All right. We'll complete this chapter and then we can take more questions. And now I think online we can start, anybody can start doing. Shamchandra Prabhu, I'll ask you to read the translation of the first verse and then ask the person online to read the translation so that everybody gets a chance.
Sure, Prabhu.
Thank you. Text 13. Jneyam yat tat pravakshami Yajñātvāmritamashnuté Anādimat param brahma Nasattanna saduchyate.
Translation. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing, which you will taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who do you think should read next? Shamchandra Prabhu.
Devi Kumari Devidasi.
Okay, thank you. So, Krishna, if you go back in the verse number 1, Arjuna asked 6 topics. It is Kshetra, Kshetrajna, which is body, knower of the body. Then Purusha is enjoyer, and Prakriti is nature. You need to mute, Mata. And when the time comes, you can read. All right, thank you. Nature, enjoyer, field of activities, knower of field, knowledge, object of knowledge. So Krishna is starting here with the object of knowledge. What is the object of knowledge? All right, let's do verse number 14. Thank you. Sarvata pani padam tad Sarvatokshi shiro mukham Sarvata shruti malloke Sarvam avritya tishtati. All right. Devi Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Sorry.
No problems. No problems.
Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads, and face, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the Supersoul exists, pervading everything.
Thank you. Next, who should read? Mataji.
Devi Gaurangi Devi Dasi.
Okay, thank you. Text 15. Sarvendriya gunabhasam Sarvendriya vivarjitam Asaktam sarva brachaiva Nirgunam gunabhoktrucha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. The Super Soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pitamrita.
Text 16. Bahir antascha bhutanam acharam charameva cha sukshmavatvat tadavijneyam durastam chantike chata. Mata, you should read. You didn't get a chance.
Hare Krishna. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all.
Does this verse remind you of some other verse? Ishopanishad? Yes, go for it. Tadejati tannajati. Tadu antar. Yeah, go for it. Try.
Tadejati tannejati taddure tadvantike. I forgot the
Tadu antarasya sarvasya.
Tadu sarvasya asya bhayata.
Excellent. Thank you. So it's the same thing, right? If you look up that verse, how does the verse start? Just now the verse you said, how does it start? Tajejati. Ejati means very near. So it's okay. It's okay, Prabhu. It's fine. It's fine. Ishopanishad verse. So it's the same verse that is being reflected. That super soul, because Upanishads talk only up to super soul or Brahman, and this is what is being mentioned here. Text 17. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam iva cha stitam bhuta bhratrir cha tadnyeyam grashnishu prabhavishnu cha. Mansi Mataji, are you online?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Translation. Although the Supersoul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. he is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all.
Thank you. One example is if you have a hotel room, right, and there are many rooms in the hotel, and if the sun is shining in the morning, it goes through the window of each hotel room, and there is a mirror opposite, in the opposing wall, and then every resident of the hotel room will see the sun on the mirror. Oh yeah, the sun has come to my room. I hope you wish not. But the sun is actually situated in the sky, but because there is a mirror in every hotel room, every person thinks that the sun is just me, and that sun is divided into many places, and this is there in me. The super soul seems to be divided and sitting in each and every one of the heart, but he is just situated like sun, and that's what is mentioned here. And more qualities of the super soul. Jyotishyam api tajyotis tamasa paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. Who didn't get a chance to read online, please?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mata.
He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Text 19. Iti kshetram tata jnanam jneyam choktam samasataha madbhakta etad vijñāya madbhāvāyopapadyate. Online, who didn't get a chance, please?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thus the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain to my nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna gives the nature or the bhakti in the middle 6 chapters, knowing well that if he gives jnana in the next 6 chapters, they will not understand, because he says only my devotees can understand this. Text 20. Prakritam purusham chaiva vidyanadubhavapi. Sorry. Vidyanadhi ubhavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Online, anybody left? Wouldn't get a chance to read?
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I can read. Okay.
Please. Yeah. Oh, Sukomala Mataji, please. Do.
Yeah. Okay. Material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada's purport is really nice. He says that don't try to figure out when I came to this world. People ask this question, when did I come? Why did I come? You know, if the world is, it's just so many variations of the same question. When did I come? How did I come? If the world is so terrible, why did Krishna put me into this world? Why am I here? He says it's just beginningless. You cannot know when you came. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, if you are really curious and burning to know the answer for the question, go back to Krishna and ask. He can tell you the right answer. All right. Hare Krishna. Srinaskar, Hare Krishna. Text 21. Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakritiruchyate purusha sukha dukhanam bhoktrutve heturuchyate. Online, who didn't get a chance to
Hare
read?
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please.
Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world.
Thank you. Nature is said to be the cause of, nature is the, so basically, if you have a city where there is like, residential quarters and offices and shops, and there is prison on the other hand in the city, then the whole city is the cause of the cause and effect. If you do wrong, then you will go to prison. But the actual person who is going to prison is the person who has committed crime. So in the same way, material nature is the cause and effect of the material causes, but the living entity is responsible for the good and bad that they get into this world. Text 22. And how that happens? This is the famous verse. Purushaha prakritisto hi bhunkte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu. Online? Anybody who didn't get a chance?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vrajalata Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So based on the modes of material nature that you associate with, then you get good or bad in this world. And as I mentioned earlier, so when the human being has this knowledge, then they can make use of the knowledge to be situated in the mode of goodness. Otherwise, people just do what they want to do, not knowing the serious and unhealthy consequences of future destination and future body. Bhagavad Gita, just by having this knowledge that how I transmigrate through different bodies, and if I steal something from someone this life, and the next life, when I have to take birth again, then something will be stolen from me, and I will be in severe want. The amount of pain they are suffering because of my theft, now I'll be suffering in the next life because I did the same thing. And having this knowledge, people will not take one paisa that is, or 1 cent that's not theirs in this world. You'll be very cognizant, very cognizant. Gita is such a beautiful scripture that implicit woven in the philosophy of Gita is highest morality and how to live in this world. Knowing everything belongs to God. Why am I stealing? And he's watching me, it is there. Everywhere his hands and eyes are there. Everywhere. In fact, there is a beautiful story. A teacher calls 3 students, or calls a student. He says that I give you a very unpleasant task. What is it? I'm giving you this pigeon, and you have to kill the pigeon. But he says, you should actually kill it where nobody is watching you. So, the student goes every which way. He goes into the deep forest, like where there is completely, he sees there is no living being around, no birds. And then he feels the presence of the Supersoul. And he says, sorry, Guru, I can't kill this because there is no place that Supersoul cannot watch. And the Guru says, you have passed the test. So when you have that, if I do some crime and nobody can catch me, well, Krishna is there. He's sitting in your heart watching everything. And he's perfect. He's perfect in his recollection. He's perfect in his knowledge. Perfect in his observations. Because his eyesight is not like, oh, maybe Krishna's eyesight was bad when no. His eyesight is perfect all the time. Maybe you remember, you don't remember. Krishna's perfect remembrance. He says in the 4th chapter, many births you and I have passed through, Archana. I remember all of them, but you don't. So when you know this, the world actually becomes a very, very different perspective, that you can live happily without feeling the angst and pains of then the urges of this material world, the pushes, the ups and downs. It's just, I'm not that, somebody else. Let's continue. Text 23. We have just about 12 verses. We'll wrap them up. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwaraha paramatmeti chapyukto Dehesmin Purusha Paraha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes. Go ahead, Mata. Smita Mata.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the Supersoul. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Here, these are the influences. What the influence are. You remember where he says what the influence are. The influence of the Supersoul is this. Is a supreme proprietor who exists as an overseer and permitter. How many times that, I don't know if you have this feeling. People want to, okay, let's go and eat something and eat in this restaurant. And by the time you are done, you are completely eating at a different place, at a different thing and a different thing. Yeah. Archana Mataji nods her head. She knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. He permitter, Anumanta. If we do not know it, but even every meal that comes has to be sanctioned by him. I mean, you can force yourself, and Krishna says, good luck with that. But if without my permission, think about it, because I eat food, I don't even know how it gets digested in my body, right? It's like you have the thermostat in the house, how much to control the temperature, yes or yes? I don't have a thermostat on my body to control the fire of digestion. That is his prerogative. How does it get digested? What is some food that seems to be so, what is some food that is so nice? This is Krishna. Anyways, that we do have a choice on what to eat. Text 24. Ya evam vetti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvata vartamanopi na sabhuyo bhijayate. Online, everybody's done?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Hare Krishna.
So nice. So nice. Yeah, enough said. Text 25. Because it is, when you see this, then the soul is not hankering for anything, because you realize that this is just interactions that are happening. Anyway, it's a very powerful understanding. Text 25. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechid atmanam Anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. Okay, online, anybody? Okay. If you're done, then...
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, I can read.
Go for it, please.
Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation. others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. After explaining the knowable, what is to be known, Jnayam, which is the super soul, Krishna is giving the means and methods on how to know. Somebody through meditation, some through Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, or Karma Yoga. But then the next verse, Srila Prabhupada writes something important there as well. Text 26, please. Anye tva evam janantaha Shrutva nebhya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva mrityam shruti parayanaha. All right. Okay. Mataji, please read the translation and go. You didn't get a chance to read. Yeah.
Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about Him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for your services. So Srila Prabhupada writes, in the modern age, this is very important. You hear from authorities and you worship the Supreme Lord as well. And because other paths are little difficult in the Kali Yuga, and Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana, it is little difficult. But this is, Srila Prabhupada says, is much easier, and he emphasizes the chanting of the holy name in this purport. Text 27. Yavat sanjayate kinchid Sattvam sthavara jangamam Kshetra kshetrajna samyoga Tadvidhi Bharatarshaba. Okay, I think Akhil and Satya Sankalpa didn't get a chance to read. Please.
O chief of the Bhartas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field.
That's so nice. It's just everything, all the news in the world, all the events happening, all the ups and downs, people getting famous, not famous, old, millions of dollars, winning, losing. Krishna is saying everything is just in this one verse. Know that this is just the combination of field of activities and the knower of field. That's about it. There's nothing to it. And then text 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatsa vinashyatva vinashyantam. Thank you. Vinashyatva sa avinashyantam. Yaha pashyati sapashyati.
One who sees the Supersoul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the Supersoul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees.
This is really nice. Text 29. Text 29. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavastitam ishwaram na hinasyatmanam atmanam tato yati param gatim. Okay, Rupali Mataji, back to you.
One who sees the Supersoul equally present everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination.
Thank you. Text 30. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yaha pashyati tatatmanam akartaram sapashyati.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees.
Thank you. Text 31. Actually, you can give to Jay one last. Jay, you can go with your friends if you want, but once you're done, okay. Not okay. Let's kindly repeat after me. Yada bhuta pritag bhavam ekastam anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada.
When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains the Brahman conception.
Thank you. Text 32. Anaditvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Mekala. Yes.
Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled.
So this is all like you can see Ishopanishad verses and this here. Text 33. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmya akasham nopalipyate sarvatravastito dehe tatatmanopalipyate. Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body.
So this is a beautiful example. And the other example is given is air. Air passes through a garbage pile and it is foul smelling, and it passes through a beautiful flower with fragrance and it smells of fragrance. But air is neither foul smelling nor is fragrant smelling. In the same way that those who are situated in the Brahman realization, the good and bad is not seen in that same way as well. Everything okay back, Suryakonda Prabhu? Text 34. Yatha prakashayatyekaha Kritsnam lokam imam ravihi Kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam Prakashayati Bharata. Vicky?
O son of Bharat, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness.
Thank you. I'll do the last verse and then we can discuss. Kshetra kshetrajnayor evam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye viduryanti te param. Jai Mataji.
Those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in the material nature, attain to the supreme goal.
Thank you. This is so, here, so Krishna discusses the dynamics of the jiva in the body, how the body is constituted, who is sitting in the body, who is the knower of the body, and then by knowing this, you become really liberated from this material world. And when we go back to one verse, previous verse, please, if that's okay with you. If you do the translation for that verse. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one with the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So people say, show me soul. Who has seen soul? You guys are talking of soul, soul, soul. Where is soul? Maybe there is no soul. You guys are just delusional. But the answer is, the soul's evidence is in consciousness. I'll give one example. The phone is dead. What do you mean by that? Means there is no power in the phone, correct? But did you see there is no power in the phone? You don't know which is power out there or not. The symptom of a battery or the power not being there is the phone is not functional. You haven't seen the ions, the electric ions moving back and forth to say that it is dead. Similarly, the soul living in this body means the body is conscious. You poke me, then I will react to it, because I as the soul am occupying this body. And when you poke me, punch me, or sometimes positive and negative emotions. The negative emotions is when you poke me, or when you just do. See, the body is conscious. You are able to elicit that reactions. That is the symptom of the soul in the body. And not sure. Okay. If you think that body is made purely of chemicals, I will give you unlimited chemicals. Bring a dead man to life. If that is your theory, then you should be able to bring a dead man to life. I'll give you unlimited chemicals. You cannot do it, because soul is so unique, so sweet, and so pure that now it's in this body, of course, and it is contaminated by material nature. But in the nature, soul is so pure, being a part and parcel of Krishna. It has the same divine quality as Krishna. Not in the same quantity, but in the same quality. And because of that divine nature of soul, we can exchange love with the Supreme Soul. Otherwise, there is no question of love. If there is no equality between soul and super soul in one level, there is no question of love, because love flows on the equal platform. So this is the nature of the soul and the love for Krishna. And this is in essence the 13th chapter. I'll stop here so that he can. Oh, okay, we have 30 more minutes. Any final questions? Yes, Mata, please.
Hare Krishna. So when we say and we believe, I believe that Krishna is living in my heart. So, and so is with all the human beings. But then, how come some people are not kind? They are mean, they are like treacherous, they are like, they do cruel things. So the soul is there even in that Krishna's thing. So how come they're doing it? Like, that's my question. Like, because when we are a part of the Supreme Soul and He resides inside us and He resides in everybody, then how come some people do unkind things?
To the extent you are unable to see the beauty of the soul and the relationship with God, to that extent you will be treacherous and unkind, because you will see yourself as the controller and the whole world is yours to exploit. You are not able to see the connection that you yourself answered the question in when you said this Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart, but everyone is unable to see it. So if there are siblings and one sibling is about to kill another sibling, telling that you are my rival, but somebody says, he is born of the same father. Why are you killing your own brother? Like, oh yeah, what happened to me? So you can see, to the extent we fail to see the connection of Krishna with every other living entity, to that extent you think, this is mine and I can kill anybody to get what I need to do. Or unkind thoughts like that. It need not be kill, but it can be, I will cause downfall of someone. I'll try to pray for someone's negative misfortune. So you can see how the darks attitudes invade the soul, who's pure in consciousness though.
So He is there, it's just that they're disconnected.
Yes. To the extent you are disconnected, to that extent you are unkind.
Right. So connected or disconnected like a wire connection, or?
No, it's a spiritual connection. It is the yoga connection with Krishna, especially the Bhakti yoga connection. If you are connected to Krishna in Bhakti yoga, then you tend to see others as part and parcels of God and you don't want to hurt them. But to the extent you don't see that, you will say that this is my enemy, this is my friend, this is my neutral. Let me kill this enemy, let me have my friend. So you will see the whole world in a dual, black and white, positive, negative. The whole world is like that to your vision.
Okay. So it's not like the wire connection. Like electrons are flowing, or there's a break in the wire and there is no flow.
No, it is the knowledge connection. When the ignorance is destroyed through actual knowledge, then jnana chakshu. The word is you see through the eyes of knowledge.
Or bhakti, or different thing. And the second question is, like when it said, do the action, but don't be attached to the fruit. I don't get it. It's very hard.
Okay. I'll take the question. If you give me 1 minute, let me see if there are more other questions, then I'll come back to your question. Anybody has online, especially online, I want to give a chance before. Online, is there any question? Because that question is in the second chapter, and we'll go back to second chapter now, once there are no questions about the 13th chapter. Actually, Akhil, you can post the online, so you can show the Zoom, we can close the Veda base. All good? No online questions, right? All right. So, in a nutshell, because it's a long topic, I'll give you in a small nutshell. So, Krishna says that, why are you taking this body? This body is a reflection of my karma. Or in the past I have done some activities, good or bad. To that extent, I am getting this body. The body is a manifestation of my karma. And Krishna is saying, to the extent you are bound to the karma, to that extent you will take on more bodies. So don't worry about the fruits, but do your work, because the more you worry about the fruits, the more you have to take the bodies to experience the good or bad of those fruits. For example, a person is born in a family where there is nothing to eat. They are suffering from diseases, whereas a person is born in a billionaire's family who decides, It's Krishna decides, because based on my past karma, I got this. This body is a manifestation of my past karma. And the more I worry about the fruits, the more I am entangling myself in the karmic activities to get better or negative bodies. Krishna is saying, go beyond that. If you are stuck in the bodily and the karmic conception, then you will be stuck in the bodily conception, because you, as long as the karma is there, you need a body. As long as the body is there, you need karma. So it's a vicious cycle that keeps on going. Chain, it's like a chain holding you on to birth after birth. Cut that by not worrying about the fruits of the action. That is in essence the karma yoga, nishkam karma yoga of Bhagavad Gita.
We plan as human beings, and if I have to plan, like where I'm stuck right now is I had planned a kirtan at my home, and there is a big festival of India for women, right? So the host, the ones who was my team, we would do this. They're like, we can't come on that day. So now my question is to the 4 families that I invited. I have a small apartment. So I invited 4 families to go back and tell them, no, we'll have to change the date and all that. And who's going to cook? All these things are like, I don't like to go back and tell anyone, you're not welcome to my home. Because there's a big festival.
Yeah.
So that is where I'm stuck. Like,
So
what is my role to do or not to do?
So, Mata, let's do one thing. We will stop the class. I'll take the conversation offline because now people are coming in. The short answer to your question is, you tried. Keep the effort to serve Krishna in your heart. Whether the results will come or not come is up to him. I will try my best to have Kirtan at my home, but if things change beyond my control, it's not me. But I'll never lose the desire to not have Kirtan at my home. One day we'll have. That's the mentality we should have.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll stop here. If there are no more questions or comments, Mata, I'll speak offline if you need more information. One item, please spread the word. We will not have class next week. We said we will have a class next week, but because there is Krishnaveen festival for the kids in the Sunday school or in the temple premise, this is occupied and we will not be able to have a class. So we are skipping the class next week and we will meet the week after at 1 p.m. I will also send it in the WhatsApp group, but just make your plans around that, and sorry for the inconvenience.